our next example of self-deception is this. So what we've done here is we've basically made a decision about who is going to graduate and who is not going to graduate, or at least how many of each, right? Because we say that our goal for our special ed population, for example, is to to raise the graduation rate from 57.7% to 60.8%. 60.8%, that's correct. And so what does that mean? That means that we've already concluded that 39.2% of the special ed students are not going to graduate. All right. I'm going to assume, goodwill and good effort, and say that the school site council saw, the records for these seniors, the special ed seniors, and we had 56, and 34 of them still had a chance, and the other 22 had no chance of actually graduating. That means walking the floor, getting your diploma, and saying met all the requirements. And so it's, a deception actually to tell these 22 seniors with special needs that it's going to be worth it to come to school for the remainder of the year, and you're going to get something out of it, right? You've already concluded. You've made the decision. It's the same decision for the 15% of the total population uh, that they're not going to graduate either, right? So your first goal states by June 2021, we're going to raise the graduation rate for all students from 81.5 to 85%. We're going to go up by 3.5. Okay, fair enough. But that means 15% of those students, of those seniors, are not going to graduate. You've made that decision by stating it, by making plans around it, by allocating the appropriate amount of resources to that 85%. You've excluded that 15%. And so why are you going to make them come back to school? I look at the work that's described here in the attendance task force, where you're going to do sweeps. You're going to you go ahead and harass the parents and tell them you're not sending your kid to school. Well, why would he want to go to school? Why should that person go to school if you've already ruled them out? I'm pretty sure that those students that you're doing these kinds of sweeps with and outreach to are the same ones that you said not going to make it, right? Not going to graduate. No, it's already February, and there's no way on God's green earth that they're going to be able to graduate. So then why have them continue going to school? At least this form of school. That's, my daughter was in a speech class that nobody found of any value added, right? And it was packed pretty much with seniors. She was given that class, not because she came after norm day. It was still the registration period, and they just had no place to place her. And that's what they do with students when they have no place to place them. They just put them wherever they fit. That's real good. But in any case, she said nobody participated. Nobody was motivated, to the point where the teacher ended up just giving dittos out. These are seniors at Venice High School getting dittos to work on independently on their own. That's high class. Geez. Once again, self-deception. No challenging of the self. Must be the student's fault. But in any case, and I'm not saying just kick them out. What I'm saying is, if you already know that they're not going to graduate, let's start putting together their alternative, learning plan for whatever time remains in the school year. These kids need to get jobs, right? They need to be productive members of society. The last thing you want to do is boot them out. The last thing I'm going to say is too bad you didn't make it. Goodbye. Although that's kind of what we do. But what if instead we say we're going to train you, we're going to assess you, evaluate you, and see what careers or what opportunities, what continued education programs match your passions, your skills, your talents, your interests in the world, and let's start working towards that, right? And let's get them some online software so they can get their GED. We'll help them if they need to, but more importantly, we start putting together their thinking around resumes, interviews, skills development, how to justify your low grades, and show how what wasn't tapped into as far as your teachers knowing what to do with you and bring it out of you. At least you did it in the last year, and here's the plan, here's the rationale, give the guy a chance, right? So it's self-deception to think that in any form or fashion it's going to be motivating or worth it to the student to find out he doesn't or she doesn't have the goods to make the cut for graduation. And even if you don't tell them, the student already knows, so why beat around the bush, right? That's more of an insult. It's like, you're bringing me back to come back to this class, the speech class that does nothing for me. Maybe it would have had somebody had a conversation with that student and that senior and said, hey, look, this is why this is important, despite what feelings you may have about coming back to school or being in that class. Get the most out of it. But that didn't happen. I used to have those kinds of conversations with students, regardless of grade level, and they buy into it, man. They believe the adults that are there to help them build a future for themselves. And so the fact that they stopped coming to school is because nobody has anything to add value in their lives. And so now we got this hunting group that chases after them. All right, great, we made ADA. Yeah, our attendance rates are higher. But what about the lives of the children? At 17, 18, they're still children, still relying. And if they have low grades and if they have learning disabilities, they're relying on the adults, professionals, well-paid adults, to show them how did you get to where you are, right? And we don't do that. So a little bit, that's a strong self-deception and even stronger deception. So let's fix that. Okie dokie. And cut.
What is school for? Feel free to call me slow, but I spent 16 years going to school, and I still don't know. When I finished, I didn't know how to do my own taxes, purchase a home, or apply for a loan. I didn't know a thing about investments, building credit, or getting a job. I graduated at the top of my class, and what did I have? This fancy diploma to sit at home with my mom. But luckily, they did teach me some important skills like factoring trinomials and how mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. I'm so happy I remember the Pythagorean theorem, because it helped me a lot. Okay, I'm lying. Let me stop. Because all the stuff they taught me, truthfully, I forgot. Mom, remember when you would ask me, what did you learn in school today? And I would say, nothing much. I wasn't being modest. The truth about it, Mom, is I had already forgotten. And it's not just me. Millions of students sing the same song. How many of you guys avoid eye contact with the teacher to try not to get caught upon? afraid to raise your hand for fear of being wrong, which proves that school isn't an environment for learning or building up the intellect. It's just a game you play for grades and how many A's you can collect. But I guess what do you expect when the most commonly asked question in class is this gonna be on the test? Is this gonna be on the test? See, if